Hello and welcome to Manchester, UK. Time capsule blogs. First country park we're at today. Hello everybody. Got a few things we need to pick up on. Quite a lot of information really. So I'm not going to whine on. I'm going to do that as we go around. So this is the start. This is Hirewood Hill Mill. Or would have been. First country park. So this is the usual entrance and car park. There's another entrance there. There's also another entrance in the distance. There's some old houses. They date to before the 1800s, some of these buildings. We're going to date them at 1775, so we're in between. So it's just before 1800 because they're built for 1800. We're in a mill, so that would be your entrance. I think they've marked it out again. The wall over there indicates more of a mill. So you can see the far wall, and they're saying this is the shop floor, and that's the area of the mill that we're within. This is Hirewood Hill Mill, and it goes through. There's another floor in the distance. So just to show you the scale, and then I'll show you some of the workings, which is, you know, the engineering for its day down there is pretty good. This is the site of the castle heads, castle teeds. I've heard all sorts, been reading it. You can't always get it right because Old English is different. So you can't, and people didn't always read them right. It wasn't always translated down the line very well. So I'm going to say castle teeds. Castle teeds. I wanted to say castle heads. Just sounds easier, doesn't it? So there's the first signs of our railway, Ramsbottom line. That's the Bury to Ramsbottom line, and there housed a turbine wheel. So if you've been watching, we're flowing down. That's at a reservoir, a small, they call it a lodge, but I call it a lake, small pond actually, really that. But look at this, vast chasm. Now if you look very closely, it's curved on the back wall. That housed the mill's turbine wheel, which was a revolution in its day. So just before the coal, steam powered, the revolution, this was, a revolution of its time. So it had a wheel that sat in there that spun, super quick. It had like 100 blades instead of about 10. It was, I've seen pictures of it, but they tend to be drawn pretty poorly. So we've come down. I showed you where the Goit splits into. The railway line is where I finished on before, which goes up into Bury, Bolton Street Station. I think we're all up to date, and they're the workers' cottages for this mill, which ends there. That's an estimate, but we'll say that's where it ends. The Castle Theeds had a farm, which is now the Brown Cow Public House. You can search that on Google Maps because we're not going in that direction today. We're following the train lines. So we're going to hook up with them now, and I got some information that's quite interesting. And then it'd be coming along this section. So we come from over in that direction. So as we see, the canal splits up. The Goit, the canal, but these are like little ponds now. What these would be for is for conditioning the water before it reaches the mill or leaves the mill. Sometimes, it's to condition the cotton. They use these to wash cotton. They bleach the cotton just like they do in the modern era. So, this is a small reservoir. I know it's not a big reservoir, but what I mean is it's a place where the water's collected together. And there's a higher reservoir just there. So we came from over there. I'm going to link up to that canal now. Well, that's the Goit. The main Goit is on that side. That must top up the reservoir on that side, I'm assuming. So we're going to investigate that. So we've come down from that direction and we just cross that bridge. Get a shot of the chimney in the distance. And there's two chutes that the water would lead out of, filling up this first reservoir of water. The oil well is down in that direction. As the way we followed down. So on this section I'm going to walk up so we can get a look at this little footbridge. So underneath this footbridge there's a little channel, I think it's a tube now, that leads over to there from where we came from. And then down there is the River Irwell, which we're now going to cross over this rather fine bridge. So underneath this bridge water's flowing like the Guyt again. It has to go at the same level as the Guyt. It's a bit rickety, this bridge, it's a bit nerve-wracking. You can see water's entering the Irwell at all sorts of different points. There'll be all kinds of different reasons. Railway bridge, that's where we're heading. We'll be heading off down that direction, don't worry, we're still following the flow. Just showing you a loop, this is another section. This would have fed the other mill, which is called Burrs Mill. In the distance is our aqueducts and the road bridge. How old these sites are I don't know, but there must have been a bridge here at some point in the, way back. Who knows how long, but you have to cross the river, don't you? That's the River Irwell. So we're going off now this direction. Bridges, Guyt. This is the Guyt channel again. If you think you can fill it all up, you see, once the water fills up to a certain level, then it starts returning back to the Irwell, and all this will remain the same level and can be used in the mills. So we'll go off to that mill. There's some old workers' cottages again for the other mill. This is for Burrs Mill. That's now an adventure weekend type place. We're going off around there now. So the Irwell's down there. The other half of the Guyt is over in that direction, and this Guyt, as I say, flows underneath the bridge all the way across. Comes out of two tubes. Oh, there's a bit of courtship going on there. BBC wildlife here. Here I come. And look at this bridge. We'll go and end on this bridge because we've got to walk round. Let's see if we can get up in the tree. Sort of. Yeah. I think we missed it. Missed our chance. That's the best shot of the bridge. There you go. That's flowing down this way. You can't hardly see it moving, but you will note it is flowing. There's some movement in that water, but it's a minute amount. You're talking millimetres per hour. There we go. So careful we don't lose track of ourselves. It runs off there for some reason. That would have been a water wheel, I assume. We've just crossed over that side. Remember, we're walking back up this way. A couple of ducks enjoying the little weir there. Tiny little weir. The Loggerhead Dam, remember, they can be deeper than they look. That could be deeper than it, we assume. So there's the cottages. The Guyt, now we're following up. And I'm going to show you where it meets the original one. So now it's time for a proper shot of the aqueduct. I'm going to get the chimney as well. We're not going to get the chimney from here. So we'll finish on a shot of the Guyt. The Guyt is being blown by the wind and looks like it's flowing in the wrong direction, but obviously it has to go over that weir that way. So I mean, it flows very slowly. There's the old workers' cottages. Chimney is behind that tree as usual. Some artwork, and you could probably see the mill. So, top of the chimney's been chopped off. It would have been like maybe twice, even 3 times that size. If you look at the old Lowry paintings, the chimneys are all massive. Fred didn't have chopped half of those down. I think it's safety reasons, I'm not really sure. But look, they should have kept one, shouldn't they, just the way it was. Absolutely unbelievable. You know, like about 100 metres, something like that in the air, some of them. Crazy, isn't it? I wouldn't get me up there for all the money in the world, I'm telling you now. Right, so there's the Irwell again. So this is the road bridge. I assume would have been a footbridge at some point. Got a bit of a swirl going on in the river there, so cars do cross this way now to the car parks for the tourist industry. It is actually quite a popular place. It's got a caravan park. If you want to search Burrs Mill or Burrs Country Park, that's in Bury. It's Lancashire. It's also Greater Manchester. Now I'm just showing you something unusual. All will make sense soon. That's our first electrified post. Doesn't seem to be connected to anything, but that's what that is. That's a tram post of some description, or electricity was brought here back in the days. That's old. So that's our first bit of evidence. I'm just walking along the River Irwell. I'm going to show you some massive stones as well in here. Not sure what these massive stones were used for, or how they got there, or why they put there. Maybe it's to make rapids, because they do have a canoeing society. But along the Irwell there's some very big stones. Signs of electrical conductivity. In the middle of nowhere in a wood. Just ends. It's old because it's rusty. It's bare wire that as well, so it's a train line, isn't it, if it's bare wire? There we go, first bit of evidence. See, physics paid off. Yeah, that's bare copper wire, it's not covered. So that suggests to me that's an electric for a tram. The reason I'm telling you that, I was investigating the Guyt a bit further, and where it flows, I don't know if you remember the viaduct in Bury, and I said I don't know the name of this viaduct. Right, so that viaduct is Daisyfield Viaduct. Daisyfield, where I was stood, and became a bit of a hot spot, and it was raining. And where I start the original blogs, funnily enough, that's a train station. So Daisyfield is a little village. It also had its own train station, and that is Daisyfield Viaduct. I'm about to show you another viaduct further down from Burs, and that's where we're going to join the train line. So this is a train special introduction. Along that side is a fault of rock. You can't make it out, but the trees start about there, look. There's a line. Solid rock. I actually got some really good footage of this once before. That's the aqueduct. Ta-da! The main aqueduct, I'd say. That's class, that. I love this thing. If I was a multi-billionaire, I'd have that in my house. I'd have it shipped into my garden. I probably really would as well, I'm sorry to say. If I was a Rothschild. I always box out the things I say that might offend. I'm not having a go at the Rothschilds, everyone's doing that these days, aren't they? If I was wealthy, I would buy that and have it shipped brick by brick, rebuilt in my garden. Pyramid behind it. Anyway, I'm not going to lose track and walk off and then start telling everyone my life story like I do. So, Burs Mill, Higher Wood Hill Mill, River Irwell, the Guyt splits, goes across a bridge over there, River Irwell again, and that's the other half of the Guyt, my main canal, which I now believe flows all the way to Salford. So once again, I don't want to lose track of where we're at. We came from that direction along the weir. We've just been on that bridge filming the weir. I did a very clever turn there because there was a van. You know the van. The one who's leaving the pub and he should have been home half an hour ago. Typical Manchester scene there. Anyway, he's not here, love, he left 20 minutes ago. Right, there's a canal channel. So as I said, we're going back round the other way to follow this is the loop that splits. So, as I said, that powers that mill at some point. The chimney's added later when it's a water powered mill or a steam powered mill. That's when the days of coal come in. You can see it's different brick to the older brick behind. There's all kinds of different brick here. You know what I'm like with bricks, I'm not doing that today. But there's Roman stuff here too. Anyway, that's some form of machinery. Famous machinery, something like the rocket. It's the same sort of engine that was then fitted into a train and became the first steam train. So that's like a steam engine. It's a steam powered engine. That's what was before, if I'm right. They had a boiler and a system that could power, but it wasn't mobile. That's basically it. So that wheel powers a rubber band or something that can start turning other cogs. Once they realised they could get that mobile, the trains, that's when the trains come in. So this is our Guyt, it's flowing down that way, remember. And I'll show you where it splits. We've already filmed where it splits, so we're at a good point now. And we're going to go up to the weir now, and we're going to follow it down, as I said. And we'll meet up in Elton, near the All Saints Church. Then we're going to get our bearings again. And finally, I've done with this Guyt. Well, for now, because just found out another secret I haven't told you yet. Red sandstone. There's people down there, they're sort of having a fun day out doing a barbecue, so I'm not walking down. This is the introduction to the train line. I'm just about to get to the weir. I can't hold it in any longer. Yeah, so I'm going to show you a viaduct. The first viaduct I'm going to show you is the Bury Bolton Street train station viaduct. It's situated on Wood Hill Road. There's also Wood Hill Road Station. That's our first train station, because today we're going to follow our first train line and I'm going to point out 7 disused railway stations. Just a shout out to those who are looking for railway stations and hidden history. So as I say, when I was on the lines, I said there's some things here that don't make sense, there's stuff underneath. Along those lines, there was the Kirklees Valley. The Kirklees Valley had the viaduct. Remember when I said, when I was at school, I realised there should have been a viaduct there, and they've replaced it with a modern bridge. Well, it was electrified all the way along that line. So Kirklees, that was Kirklees Viaduct, ran along there, and there was Kirklees train station, but they called it a halt, so it was Kirklees Halt. There's Sunnywood train station, Tottington main train station, and there's one in Holcombe Brook, which is Green Mount, so then you'd get to Holcombe Brook. So 7 stations along the line, and it was electrified. It was a 3-rail line. I nearly fell out of my chair when I read it. It was the first prototype for the line that goes through to Yorkshire, through the Peak Districts, through the tunnels and the canal tunnels. It links up in Castleton, so everything. So the line that goes from Daisyfield train station, or Daisyfield Viaduct, sorry because I'm trying to remember all this and it's really hard and I'm nearly getting there and I don't want people coming in, there's a dog. So at Daisyfield Viaduct, I thought that was the Bury to Bolton line. That turns out that's the Bury to Salford line, which runs along the same way that the Guyt does. So now I think the Guyt goes all the way to Salford. It's amazing, isn't it? But it was electrified in 1913 with overhead cables just like these. So, introduction to railways.